On the 26th of November last year, we had one of the most anticipated budgets in many, many years. And this is what Rachel Reeves had to say in the Commons on that day about pubs, and in particular, about business rates.
And I will support the Great British Pub through our new national licensing framework, encouraging councils to back our pubs and to back late-night venues with greater freedoms. For business rates, I will introduce permanently lower tax rates for over 750,000 retail, hospitality and leisure properties, the lowest rates since 1991.
Well, it all sounded pretty good, didn't it? There were publicans up and down the country cheering. Trouble is, actually, the very opposite is the result, with changes in rateable value and actually all of the pubs having business rates increasing, in some cases, very significantly. Well, last night, Sacha Lord, the former nighttime economy advisor for Greater Manchester, put this out on X. I regret so badly donating to the party. This is sickening to watch play out. A fish rots from the head down. He will cost so many hard-working Labour councillors their jobs on May the 7th. And Sacha Lord joins me down the line. I hope. Hello, thank you very much indeed. We've got you. Yeah, you know, I mean, the nighttime economy, pubs, bars, big shout-out from the Chancellor in the budget. It just wasn't true, Sacha, was it?
So, Nigel, rewind a bit further, actually, and I was at the Labour Party manifesto launch in Manchester, and she told the audience, that was made up of her now cabinet and the world's press, that she was going to be the Chancellor of Business and Growth, and she couldn't be further from the truth. The first thing she did was introduce a hike in national insurance, which was catastrophic. But the whole time she said, look, to my industry, I'm going to support you with the business rates reform. So I'm going to look after the small guys, the pubs, the cafes, the small independent restaurants on the high streets, reform the business rates that are broken, and I'm going to go after the big boys with the Amazon warehouses and the parcel forces of the world. We thought, great, okay. And then the clip you've just showed now, she stood at the dispatch box and announced this thing. And we thought, well, do you know what? She's kept to her word. And then my phone lit up within an hour. People started to put the numbers in, and pubs increased on average 76%. Hotels, shockingly, 115%. And then they did their 14th U-turn 2 weeks later, once she realised the public sentiment was right behind us. And she said, actually, I'm going to give a 15% discount to pubs. Well, she'd already increased it by 76%. So 15%, you know, is nonsense. And why not give it to the whole of the hospitality sector, not just pubs? And today, Nigel, I've spoken at the Nighttime Industry Association conference in Liverpool, 2,000 delegates, and not one person had a good thing to say about Rachel Reeves and the Prime Minister. And in fact, on my panel talk, they asked me at the end if there was one thing I could wish for this year, what would it be? And I said a new Prime Minister and a new Chancellor, and I got the biggest round of applause.
There's nothing more important than keeping your money and your identity safe online. And with so many VPN options available, choosing the right one can be pretty daunting. But this video's sponsor, ExpressVPN, is making the choice easier for GB News viewers. ExpressVPN is offering up to 75% off, plus 4 extra months free. That's top-level security from just £2.49 a month, and you're covered by their 30-day money-back guarantee. So just click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code now. Remember, when you're online, you are often sharing personal data, so hackers can steal your information, your passwords, your photos, and your bank details in just seconds. But ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. So why choose ExpressVPN? Well, it couldn't be easier to use. With just one click, you are protected. And ExpressVPN uses military-grade AES 256 encryption, which is the same standard trusted by the US government to guard their classified information. With their new tiered plans, you can protect up to 14 devices at once and manage passwords securely. Live chat support is available 24/7, and it typically connects you in under a minute with a real person. Click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code to get up to 75% off ExpressVPN, plus 4 months extra for free. Start protecting yourself today with ExpressVPN.
And Sacha, just tell me on the pub industry as a whole, just how serious is the situation?
It's worse now, Nigel, than it was during COVID. I had a conversation with a landlord prior to Christmas who had a pub in Coventry. I'm not going to name the pub. He said, I'm going to hand my keys back. And he handed his keys back in January. But what broke him was the fact that he lived above the pub. You know, this is where his kids grew up, his 2 boys. So not only are his finances in tatters, his mental health is in tatters. He's lost his dream. And this is what the government quite simply do not understand. A pub is more than just a pint. And that's why I tweeted that last night. You know, I was sat watching the news and I thought Captain Flip-Flop may have lost his job at the beginning of the week when we saw Anna Sarwar come out and call for resignation. And sadly, it didn't happen. But then again, right at the heart of government, I was starting to hear about this Lord Doyle. And, you know, we're talking about paedophilia and sex trafficking right in the heart of the British government. Never in my lifetime have I ever seen anything like this before. And something has to break. And what I said in that tweet was, look, I know a lot of very, very hard-working Labour councillors in Greater Manchester who are going to lose their seats on the 7th of May. Likelihoods are to your party, Nigel, through no fault of their own. Yeah. And it's because, as I said, the fish rots from the head. It's coming down. And I pray to God there's a leadership contest after the 7th of May.
Sacha Lord, you couldn't have been clearer. Thank you very much for coming on with us this evening.
Thank you.
John, many years in the House of Commons, ministers, prime ministers, chancellors may not willfully mislead the House. Did she do that?
Well, it looks like misleading to me. I mean, I think you're right to highlight it. And as we heard very clearly described, that you got the impression listening to the Chancellor that they were going to have lower bills. Yeah. And they're not having lower bills. I mean, she was accurate because she said the rate was going to be lower. But she's putting up the valuation, and I think she was also getting rid of a big discount, which the Tories had put in over COVID. And she doesn't mention those. So I think it is completely misleading, because publicans thought they were going to be better off and they were going to be absolutely clobbered. I mean,
John, you know, with Sacha Lord, you're losing somebody who worked with Andy Burnham, a supporter of the party, a donor of the party. He was pretty angry.
You could feel, the passion came through his camera. Yeah. And it's righteous, and I think it's right too. And one of the reasons why this dropped out in the budget was, if we remember, in the weeks before the budget, there was preparing for a completely different budget, one in which there were some tax changes on income tax and national insurance, ones in which the government were preparing, apparently, to say, I know we promised you this, but we're going to have to raise some taxes to spend on public services. And when you withdraw from that, you end up with got to move a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. And it looks great on paper, you can present it well. But it turns out the devil is in the detail. Now, every chancellor tries to present their budget to get cheers. Everybody watching who knows anything knows you got to read the Red Book. I don't think it was willful misleading. I think it was political misleading. But I think the core argument here is the system, the ecosystem of our cities, our high streets, is very delicate. And the businesses there, they don't control their own fate entirely. They can't make people come in to use them. They don't control the price of the beer, the brewery. The landlords dictate to a lot of our great shopkeepers and pub owners as well. And the balance of power seems to have shifted towards the landlords and away from the people who provide the services.
I mean, that argument is fine, but what we're talking about here, in particular, our business rate's totally outdated now, John. It's sort of almost like a feudal thing when you've got people competing with them online, not paying any business rates.
Well, I'd rather not have them, but I don't think anybody has got a scheme yet which can find a replacement. So you've got to live with them. But you've got to take some of them down rather more if you want your high street left.
Otherwise they're going to be gone. Yeah. Including too many of our pubs, which is a tragedy in every way, because actually every pub is a parliament. That's where we go and discuss the world. We'll often have our minds changed in a conversation in a pub. You know, you never know. You never know.
Conversations are the best way.
Well, you never know.
Issues.
John could make me a socialist over a pint. No, it's not going to happen. In a moment.
2 pints, maybe.
Maybe 2. I'll grant you that.